Hey guys, and welcome to Dark Arts. We're talking to you guys about part two. I already said Dark Arts, but my name is still LBB. We're talking to you, obviously, guys, about Adam Levine part two. We did a part one, and we spoke a little bit about if Adam Levine is naming his children, wants to name his children after mistresses, the kind of manipulation behind it. If he's lying, but if he's telling the truth and he really wants to, which I know he's not, but because he said about same thing about several women. Then again, I probably shouldn't say name or not. But if he doesn't, if he really does want to name his child after these women, what does it signify and what does it actually mean? Because that's a lot more darker, a lot more sinister, a lot more dangerous in actually understanding where this is coming from. That's a lot of dark psychology. We're gonna break it down as to if he really means it and he really wants to name these women after name his children after these mistresses. What does it really mean and where's it coming from? We're going to break it down on here. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you like it, you share, you subscribe, you click on that bell button for notification of the uploads. And for those of you returnees, you already know what it is. Dark Arts, we're here to help you guys navigate the dating world and help you guys avoid the pitfalls of manipulation, lying, control, and influence that people would like to implement in relationships. And if you're tired of being played, then this is the channel for you. All right, let's get into this. Just again, a reminder of what we're talking about here. Adam Levine has been caught out by several women now, not just one, but several now. And on several women too, he sent this message where he said, okay, serious question, I'm having another baby, and if it's with a boy, I really want to name it Sumner. You okay with that? Dead serious. Now, in part one, I said he's probably lying, and he just wants to play a grand gesture that will make you feel like you're being loved and cared for. But I also had to consider the fact that if he's not lying, he's being genuinely true, and he wants to name this child after these mistresses, what does it really mean? First and foremost, any man who would do this is any man who would do this is wicked. Okay, very wicked and evil. Okay, all right, but it comes from an emotionally unintelligent individual who's selfish and not thinking long term. Now that's several points rolled into one, but I need to break it down that way. He's unintelligent emotionally. He can't process emotions very well. Can't process the fact that it affects generations and affects your children. He's selfish because all he's thinking about is himself. And there's a sinister and darkness within himself of oftentimes, and if this is the case, a narcissistic aspect of trying to break the partner down. Because this is madness. Well, I shouldn't even say narcissistic, I should say abusive. Okay, so let's start number one. Emotionally unintelligent. An inability to be able to craft, converse, receive, understand emotions very well. The inability to be able to regulate emotions very well, to understand, to process, and then to express. People who don't know how to express their emotions very well, who can't put language to words to explain their emotions, tend to act out. And there's one of the deepest things as well. Men sometimes hold on to things, and it's not all men. I'm talking about specifically men that are like this, which are dangerous. Men like Adam Levine, if he truly means this, okay, are dangerous because the reason why you would name it after a mistress is your simple infatuation. We call this mania. It's a type of love that's based on obsession. It's got nothing to do with actual real love. It's an obsession. It is something what people use when they're stalkers. So to then go name your child after the mistress. Now, if this was an ex, it would be, oh, my real true love. We would say that what we could say is, if he wants to name the child after an ex, what it really means is he's never loved anybody else except that woman. The woman that he's with right now, he don't love her the way he loved his ex. That's what it would entail. That would be the psychology behind him naming the current child after an ex. But it's not an ex. It's a mistress, which is current and present. This is obsession and mania. It's not a real love. It's a lust. Okay? Mania is an obsession. And that's why you're willing to want to name your current child after that woman. And what could also be a part of that is wanting to hurt your current partner. Now, you may not do it overtly. You may do it subtly. And that subtly is in the fact that you're naming that child and potentially not letting your partner know it's named after a mistress. Of course, who's going to admit that if you're moving mad at the same time, right? So, honestly, you ask that key question: do you not have your long-term generations in mind when you name a child after your current mistress? Do you not see the ramifications of naming a child after a mistress? That people take on characteristics due to their name? If somebody was called Beyonce, you will end up judging that child by Beyonce standards. Do you not realize the implication of your action? No, you don't. because you're selfish and self-loathing and self-indulgent. You don't care about anyone else but yourself. And that's why you'd end up being there. It's a selfish individual to want to name his child after a mistress. Now that could have been said. He could actually have fallen in love with that mistress. But I mean, he has several mistresses, so I don't think he has. For instance, we can look at Prince Charles and Camilla. The same could be said that if he had a child with Diana, right, a third one, let's say, for instance, he might have named it Camilla if it was a girl, right? But that again would be talking about a past ex-flame, a past person who he's never. We know that he's never finished loving Camilla. He's always loved Camilla and just loved Diana a little bit in between. But he's always loved Camilla. She's always been there. It would make a bit more sense with a current crop of a person who's new to the fold. Wanting to name your kid after that? Yeah, you got obsession and mania. Okay? All right? Children are not possessions. They're not properties. They're human beings. Okay? And names have power and meaning too. So when you give it a name, you're speaking about your meaning. Right? When you give somebody a name, you're speaking a meaning. Because you have a meaning attached to the reason why you gave that person the name. Giving the name of a child to a mistress, it's not only spiteful, dark, sinister, it's absurd and dangerous. Okay? Alright? To that child's mental health, if they ever find out that's the case. But, you know, spiritual things do happen, so people find out, you know. So it's an unintelligent, unintelligent, emotionally, unintelligent, emotional man who doesn't know how to articulate himself, acts out in behavior, who does this thing. It's so dark though, because there could be other aspects of you trying to break your partner. There could be other aspects of you not seeing that child as a human being, which speaks largely to how you actually see people in general. And that's that usury spirit, that narcissistic, abusive type of spirit that you don't see human beings as humans. You see them as possessions. Okay? All right? That's that narcissistic vibe coming through. Because that's a whole lot of madness. Right? Anyway, like, share, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts down below. Do you agree with what my sentiments were? Let me know. I appreciate you guys. Stay locked and stay loaded. We'll see you.